life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, right? Whether that's factually, provably true or not doesn't really matter. What I know is it's the proper attitude towards life that's going to work out for your best and for the best of those around you, right? When I started getting into the business world, a guy with no experience, the thing I started noticing is the more successful the person was that I met, the easier it was for them to handle and move on from adversity. And I was always very impressed by that.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and turn them into cash-based multimillionaire entrepreneurs. Warning, if you're a doctor who listens to this podcast regularly, you will make millions of dollars. Do not listen to this podcast unless you want to be a successful clinic owner who helps thousands of patients achieve their health goals and adds more money than you can imagine to your bank account. You've been warned.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we give you the exact tactics, strategies, and mindsets you need to fulfill your destiny by helping thousands of people in your community and dominating your market and your life. I'm Rory Morgan. I'm here with Dr. Chris Zaino today. Dr. Zaino, how you doing?
What's up, Rory? Always good to see you. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into it. Today, I want to talk about how do you handle adversity in business? And I would say overall, a huge percentage of the marketplace of small business owners in general, I would say the market conditions are more adverse than they were a few years ago, right? And how do we actually approach it, and how can we systematically think about things so that we can be in an empowered position and make progress? So I think the fundamental concept that really I think we want to really get into is the concept of gratitude, which is seems pretty easy, right? It's oh yeah, be thankful for what you have, or be thankful when someone gives you a gift. But is that really a foundational, deep-seated attitude of gratitude in your everyday life? Is that enough if you're a small business owner, or if you want to be a great leader of your family as a man, or if you want to be uber successful in whatever it is that you do? Is it enough to just be thankful when God sends you good gifts, or when you're healthy, or is there more to it than that? So what are your thoughts, man? How do you want to kick this thing off on that?
Yeah. I think we juggernaut into a negative spiral with business. And so we don't realize we go into a state of ungratitude. We become a victim. So if you become a victim, that's the first sign you're not grateful. And then you're right, it's easy to be grateful when things are good. And then what is good, right? So the way I look at it is, if you're going through something in your life, usually it's the time period you are assessing it that changes the perception of the story. Like, for instance, if something happened to me horribly, that I perceive horribly, I'm like, Roy, I can't believe this happened. This partner of mine, he put his name on the lease, and then I came in and he changed all the locks, and I'm out of my own office, which is a true story.
Yeah.
So I came home and I'm like, babe, you don't even know how to think, Roy. You're just I do not know the next logical step. However, I've been through this stuff enough to always go, well, what is this movie going to turn into? But now when you zoom out, then you're like, oh my God, I never would have left if I didn't get kicked out. You're if this wouldn't happen, that wouldn't happen. So usually I know that as the time frame I look at this circumstance is usually the story I remember and say about it. And so in the moment, though, you're a victim. You're not grateful. You get in a really bad state. You get angry. You get impatient. You force, and it just makes it a lot more difficult. And then it could juggernaut. Then you start generalizing. If it's marketing, you hear this sound. I know you heard this before, Roy. These people just aren't good people. You get a point where you generalize human beings.
Yeah.
One bad call, bad sales call. It's these people aren't good people. I'm like, so we start generalizing things because it becomes, we get hurt So I think we get hurt, we get protective, and we totally get at a state of total gratitude because it's counterintuitive in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and the the phrase in my mind, I've heard it. I know a couple places. I don't know who originally said it, but it's like life doesn't happen to you; it happens for you, right? And whether that's factually, provably true or not doesn't really matter. What I know is it's the proper attitude towards life that's
Mhm.
going to work out for your best and for the best of those around you, right? And so just to kind of give a couple examples from things I've seen and kind of my own experience in life, I can think back. I guess when I started getting into the business world, a guy with no experience, the thing I started noticing is the more successful the person was that I met, the easier it was for them to handle and move on from adversity. And I was always very impressed by that. It was like, wow, that's a significant setback. That was a very, man, that's the kind of thing that would piss me off and make me lose a week
Mhm.
of crying and whining and pouting and being angry and, go through all the stages of grief or whatever. And this other guy's just like, okay, cool. We're just gonna learn from that and adapt and overcome, right? And I was just like, wow, that's very impressive. Like the countenance didn't change. And I thought back about like, you know, how people tend to be raised, right? I mean, most of us, just by definition, we're all, we're probably a vast majority of us are someplace raised somewhat middle class, right? There's some poor, there's some rich, but like, I think I remember the way I was raised. It was like, you go to church and there's like, like all the women are kind of complaining about how hard their week was and all the, oh, my kids are so hard to manage. And like, there's a lot of magnifying as if like, well, this situation's just happening to you, right? And you just, you're around that and you absorb that, right? And there's just like, everybody's real obsessed with like politics and they're kind of complaining about how the government's doing this,
Mhm.
whether you're right wing, whether you're left wing. It's like it's always the other team's fault. And the reason the economy's bad is because of all this stuff that's happening to me, right?
Mhm.
And you kind of learn that and you absorb that as you're growing up. And you go into the business world and all of a sudden it's like, well, it's on me, right? If it is to be, it's up to me. And that attitude really doesn't serve you, right? I know, like my own experience playing basketball as a white dude in what was essentially a black dude's sport. Like I I did not get respect anywhere that I went, and I really had to earn it, right? And so like there were teams I tried out for, there were situations, teams that I tried to make, and situations I wanted to put myself in where I got cut and I wasn't accepted into certain groups of players. And like I could have gone back and whined about that and complained about that. And I probably did when I was younger. And my dad probably said, "Hey, dude, shut up and work harder." But like I eventually had to learn, okay, well, if I'm not going to automatically get the respect because I'm not 6'7" with a 43-inch vertical, then I have to learn from that and figure out, okay, how do I separate myself? How do I differentiate myself? How do I make sure that I show up in the right way, that I can earn respect at my size and my athleticism, right? How can I increase certain parts of my athleticism, right? And so like I remember going through those experiences and realizing like this is just the way it's going to be, right? So I take that and it's like, okay, this is happening to me. Well, yeah, sure. Like these guys don't want me and they're unfairly saying that I'm not athletic enough even though I'm out there scoring a ton and guys can't stop me. Well, is this happening to me or is this happening for me to make me smarter, stronger, more proficient in what I'm doing, right? And I had to take that and kind of put away some of those tendencies that I maybe learned just out of an average society where we think everything's happening to us and start building that skill set of like how do I reframe what's happening for my benefit?
Right.
So, um, I know, like what are some situations, I guess, maybe that you hear a lot from docs, from nurses, from healthcare professionals, from other small business owners, where it's just like you can hear this sort of like lack of thankfulness and gratitude towards whatever life is giving them, and they're kind of looking at things as like, dude, the world is against me, instead of looking at it in terms of like, well, this is for my benefit so I can learn and grow.
It goes hand in hand. And what's a big illusion, it goes hand in hand with a poverty and scarcity mentality. You think of poverty, someone's impoverished or scarce, they'd be grateful for what they had. It's actually quite the opposite. When you have that poverty scarcity mentality, everybody's against you and there's entitlement. And then you just keep on playing. You play not to lose, right? So you don't play to win. You play not to lose. You stop taking risks. You lose confidence in yourself. Yeah, it's a downward spiral. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see it a lot with a poverty and scarcity mentality, and it's tough to get through to that person. And like you were talking about that a businessman, I think of like Elon Musk. Guy loses billions in stock a day, and why are they able to like course correct is because it's something you can't be taught at a five-star hotel seminar. You
Hmm.
got to go through it. You survive it. It didn't kill you. And then you see the silver lining in it in some way, shape, or form. And it doesn't have to happen much where you see it. So when you're going through it, it sucks, but you're like, hey, listen, I know it's going to be for my better. I just like what skill, it shows a skill I need to learn. It shows what's going on my inside. What skill did I need to learn, or where do I have to improve on? So it's actually a teacher, but if you don't see it as a teacher, you become a victim of it. So again, it takes conscious awareness, and actually it takes you going through something like that quite a bit of times, knowing that you didn't die, to be like, hey,
Right.
listen, I was taken care of then, I'm taken care of now, and I'll be taken care of in the future, right? It's an attitude of getting rocked quite a bit and making through it, and having having the foresight to see it was a blessing. And I think
Yeah.
having some type of spiritual background helps that.
Yeah.
It could be positive or negative. Like you said, talked about church. I know a ton of people blaming the devil for everything, and it causes them not to move, man. I slipped on the ice. The devil is just ice, man. You slipped on the ice. You weren't careful.
The devil's just personally got your name written up there, and he's just
Yeah.
just, right there
So
behind you all the time.
it's funny how this pendulum could swing to there just has to be, like you said, I also feel that a person who is raised with a lot of responsibility
Hmm.
tends to be more grateful as well because like you said, you earned your place in your sport, and there was a sense of you were proud of yourself because you had to earn it and you knew you had to do it. So like that personal responsibility was also in there too, being grateful for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you said something, and this really, it seems like should have been obvious, but it's kind of the maybe the opposite of gratitude is entitlement.
Yeah.
Um, do you think that's where it starts? Is understanding that, hey, actually, you don't deserve anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you aren't just you don't just roll out of bed and deserve a super yacht and unlimited free time and whatever other wild desires you have, like that has to be not just earned, but like you also have to approach life with wisdom. You have to, with awareness, with intelligence. Yeah, and you got to work hard too, but it's like I think is it recognizing that, like, hey, I think I deserve perfect patience every day,
Mm-hmm.
and that everyone who walks through my doors is just going to walk in with their checkbook ready to write me a check for $5,000 or $10,000, and if I'm not getting that, then shame on the marketer. If I'm not getting that, shame on the patient for not recognizing my value. Where it's like, is that the first step? Is just like identifying where you are entitled.
Yeah, it's like I see it as like people shaking their hand at God saying, you know, why didn't you make me like somebody else?
Yeah.
It's like, well, they have this, why don't
Yeah.
I have this? And it becomes this like jealous, entitled thing.
Yeah.
And there's zero trace of gratitude in it at all. So the thing is like you cannot receive without being grateful. So you're really kind of blocked off when you're entitled or you deserve something or narcissistic. But the shaking my hand, going like, why didn't you create like like you're ungrateful for the creation that you were. So like the ungratefulness goes so high on a spiritual level, like
Yeah.
ungrateful for your life. Like it's all, and I think it is a lie that we start to believe, but all decisions and actions made out of that lie keeps on, like the world keeps on giving you who that person is. I'm like
Hmm.
it's just going to keep on because they're going to see the world against them at all parts, and it's a tough. I could honestly say I have not been that successful coaching someone that's that sees life through that lens because it's tough for them to see. They almost have to go to rock bottom to get to a place where they're slightly broken to become grateful or humble again. It's weird. Yeah, but it's not pretty. It's just not a pretty thing. But yeah, I've seen it. And yeah, but a lot of yeah buts. But you don't understand, Roy. No, no,
Yeah.
like I do understand. I've been there too in a different way. And but I put in the work. I did this. And like you said, life has no guarantees. That's another thing, Roy. I think someone believes that if I did A, B, and C, I'm automatically given the result. But the thing is, there's zero guarantees. You could do
Yeah.
everything quote unquote right.
Yeah. I
And then you
went to
could have
school.
someone
I got
fall
good
into
grades. I
shit.
treated people well. And
Yeah,
then
you get
therefore, yeah.
and you could have someone who's a criminal. Just like that's another thing. Like there's no rule book here. Like there's no like that whole the golden rule is just for your own spirit. I want to treat people the way I want to be treated, but someone could go and steal 100 million from you and go to bed fine and live a quite a nice life. It's
Yeah.
just like, but I think the golden rule is for your own spirit. But like, there's no rules that say that when you do quote unquote the right things, you're going to get that result.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Your reward is in heaven for that. Right. So it's,
And then Rory, talk to that. Remember the pendulum. Talk to the group that feels that they must be in ever suffering to be a good person. So then you have the person that
yeah.
good things are coming and they deflect it.
Yeah. Yeah. Their identity is in like, well, if I don't have something to suffer from, then
Yeah.
I'm not valuable. Yeah.
We've seen it, and because we work with a lot of people, we've seen these archetypes.
Yep. It's definitely an archetype. I think that's a growing archetype in our culture, man. Like man, have we glorified victims.
Mm,
And that's not to say there's never a victim, but like, geez, do we glorify victims in our culture?
mhm.
Um, so yeah, one thing you were saying there that it brought up a thought for me, and my sense is that this is really the secret to, you know, a happy and fulfilled daily life, right? Um, and it's that like I think we all sort of have these goals and dreams and desires to like, oh, retire and live the laptop lifestyle on the beach and have passive income so that I don't have to work anymore. And you name it, whatever version of that someone might have. And it's not that that's wrong, but I'm pretty sure where day-to-day fulfillment comes from is actually when your dream is to just find joy and contentment in doing the work, right? Where it's like the real dream come true is like what I do every single day, whether that's, you know, you're the face of your company and you're making advertisements all day, or you're treating patients all day, or you're managing a team all day, but it's like, hey, the good, the bad, the ugly, the shortcomings that I encounter in myself every day, the the trials, the unexpected surprises that I encounter every day, this is where I'm supposed to be. And like, this is the dream come true. Like, giving the energy that I wake up every day, actually giving it full force to those that I come into contact with. Like, I'm giving my best. I drain myself. I fall asleep at the end of the day exhausted because I gave all of my passion, all of my love, all of my energy to making the world a better place in whatever situation that I'm in. And I think that's
Oh
like,
yeah. You heard that too, Lori. Oh, it's the journey, and it is. It is always the journey. Then but again, it's a tough concept because none of us necessarily want to go through the teaching moments of life.
yeah, but I think that's what it is, right? Because I mean, I know that
Yeah,
I like, again, like, have financial goals, have freedom goals, but like this isn't contrary to that idea.
right.
It's like, uh, you eventually, though, you're gonna die, and you're not gonna get to take any of that stuff with you wherever you go, right? Um, you enter into the world naked, and you're going out naked, and um it's like, I think having that realization that like the true journey here is who I become through the process, right? Like, that's the end goal is, man, can I get to my twilight years, 65 to 85 or 80 to 100 or however old you live, like, and I can really legitimately be a sage to those that are younger than me at that point, right? Like, I can be the guy who has the wisdom and the understanding, or are you going to be the bitter old guy who says, "Get off my lawn,"
Hmm.
right? And like, do you want to? I guess that to me is, it's when people have that attitude of gratitude, where it's like, this is all for me. This is all for my growth. This is all for my improvement. This is all for my cultivation of wisdom and courage and whatever it is that you're needing to cultivate at that time. Like, this is for me to become who I'm meant to be, you know, so that I can pass that wisdom on to the next
Yeah.
generation, so that I can pass that courage on to the next generation, so that I can be, a guide to those that are younger than me, right? Because look, you get to a point where like you have a lot less energy, and you run out of, the grind mentality, and you can kind of be the sage in your old age. And whether that's mentoring people in business, whether that's mentoring people in healing arts, or whether that's mentoring people, you just your sons who are starting their own families now, like, is it coming from a place of like, man, I put in the work, and I really learned these lessons, and I can walk people through it now, and ultimately, like, you know metaphorically, I guess, hold my head up high, with a level of like, hey, I ran the good race, and became the man I was supposed to become as I ran this race, when I meet my maker.
You know what, Rory? I also think gratitude is a habit,
Yeah,
just like not being grateful
100%.
is a habit. Because I have that book. Every day you write down 5 things you're grateful for. Like
Yeah,
stupid. Like I could be like air right now. Air, Rory, this video set up, my health, Monique Rama. Like 5. And the next day try to
yeah.
do 5 more. And so it's like it becomes a habit because like you're looking for that. And
Hmm.
sometimes you could go and you get on, like I say, I just feel like you juggernaut. Some people jug where like you build a habit of being a victim, or you build a habit of not doing it.
For sure.
So it's just like, because I've seen myself get in the habit of complaining.
Oh yeah, huh,
And I think the
we've all
news, the
done it.
news, and the media, like that, it's like it's habitual. And you
Yeah,
hang around friends, and like you said, they're gossiping. It's habit. And
yeah,
then all that habit of you get in the habit of not of complaining and not being grateful, and that leads to sedation, right? Why do people drink? Because you're not happy. You're not grateful. You're just like, and dude, you want to break. You want to you want to break of yourself not being grateful.
yeah.
And like I say, when you
100%.
sedate, it's cool until it's not cool anymore. When you're
For sure.
sedating and high and still the problem's in front of you, then that's not fun.
Right. Yeah,
So
it
what do you
doesn't
think
do
about
anything.
that? Like the habit of it, like it just you don't like again. That's why I love having people, very important people in your life, good friends in your life, even coaches in your life. Because as a coach, they could see that, which you don't see, and be like, dude, honest, not a bullshit, let's validate. You're like, dude, you're complaining a lot. Like you're building this habit of complaining. And I do this thing called stacking, where I journal like this triggered me. And I talk about, well, what's the story? Well, I'm doing my marketing and three people came in, no one signed. Two of them didn't have a job, so these people suck. So it's like, is that story inherently true? And you know it's not. It's just a story I'm making towards it. All right,
Hmm.
so what story do I want? Because I could change the story. That like people come in, they appreciate their health, they're in tough times, like whatever story I make from it, and you take that negative, ungrateful moment, and you have to eventually find the gratefulness out of it. And it's called
Yeah,
stacking. It's something,
for sure.
and it's tough, but it's a conscious decision. And it just,
Yeah.
what it does is it slows the momentum and the habit of going this direction and just gets you to pause, reflect, and move out. And a lot of times, it just having a good brother in your life to point it out, be like, dude, like, what are you doing? And then because it sometimes, I don't know, Roy, if you've been there, but it kind of feels good complaining and being a victim sometimes because
It
it's a
feels good in
reason
the
for your
same
shit.
way that like having a few beers feels good,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
It's like you kind of know like this isn't really going to be productive for me, right? Like this, but like yeah, once the buzz starts, it kind of it's numbing, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm commiserating with my friends here complaining
Hmm.
and you ruminate in your own thoughts and like it feel yeah, it does it's like it just doesn't feel good in a healthy way, but there are good feelings that aren't healthy, right?
Because it's taking away the personal, it goes back to that, takes away the personal responsibility. If I
Yeah.
could put the blame and the reason on something outside of me, it's like it gives me a break of like not taking ownership over my life. Even
Yeah.
though I'm going to have to eventually, tomorrow, the next day, I'm going to have to face it. However, that's the relief of the sedation. It's like I'm taking the responsibility off of me. And it's like when you get to the point where you get angry enough, remember you said you used anger, right? I think when you get to the point where you get angry enough, it gives you a little bit of self-power to like face this thing and be like, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I love Rocky movies. He would get knocked down, he would lose his confidence, and he'd get a little angry, and he'd come back.
Yeah.
And but he came back as a champion, but he was humble and grateful, right? It was so good
Yeah.
because it's like, remember in Rocky 3, he got Mick, his trainer, says the problem with you champions is you get what do you call it? Ah, shit. The problem with you champions is you get what do you call it? Domesticated. Like
Okay. Yeah.
like you lose your hunger, you lose
Yeah.
that humility. You like you got domesticated. It's
Yeah.
easy, It's like, and you got all this material stuff, but like, and that's why he lost to Mr. T because he was hungry and he trained in the basement. And
Right.
it's like he had hunger. It's like so, when you get domesticated and like things get easy, you kind of that's another thing. I've said you get bratty, So
Yeah.
being ungrateful is like a kid being bratty.
Yeah. It's like if the AC is off by 1 degree, it's like there's something to complain about it. That's some like if your life gets too perfect, like it's 74 in here instead of 72.
Right.
It's like- and then that just ruins your day, right? Um, no, I think you're right about the habit part. So I was kind of trying to think of some ideas, right? Because it is a habit. It is a choice, and then you have to keep making that choice until it becomes a habit. So you mentioned write down 5 things that you're grateful for every day. I think taking that a step deeper is like, okay, well, every single day at the end of your day, what if you wrote down something like, what is one thing that happened to me that I wasn't expecting that I'm grateful because I can learn from,
Mhm.
right? Like really pushing yourself to be like, hey, how can I actually reframe this thing that I think is happening to me to reframe it and say, well, maybe like, was this happening for me? What am I going to
Mhm.
do about it? What am I going to learn from it? I don't know. Any other ideas of like things that you could make a habit in your life to really cultivate that type of mindset?
Yeah, I have a thing when I do the I Am Hero journal. It's kind of what you said. Every day I have my 5 intentions because I tend to have a huge to-do list.
Yeah.
And I'll do six, and there's eight more, and my mind never relaxes, and I feel like I'm always behind. So I'm like, today, four things. If I'm done by 10 a.m., you're good, dude. You won.
Yeah.
Then I have the wins of the day. I got it right here. So I put all my wins. Like you're on here, a podcast with Rory. Win. Worked out. Win. Ate right. Win. Raymond Monique. Always a win. So that's like what I'm grateful for. And then I have something called the unknowns. Uh, in the unknown, like everything in our life that's known and certain, we know exactly what we're going to get. So we're going to get the same life I'm at now because it's known. All the unknowns, like those unknown things, that's the pathway for me to another life that's not this.
Yeah.
And there's perceived good unknowns, perceived bad. So the unknowns was the gentleman we got on a call with the other day. Boom, unknown, right? And then all of a sudden, these like roads open up
Mm-hmm.
and priorities shift. Well, we got to work on this right now, right? We got to get this by tomorrow. So that was a huge unknown, right? Didn't know that. So
Totally.
I know that I'm building the habit of what I'm grateful for. Then I'm building the habit of what's new and uncertain and unknown in my life because in the unknowns has all the nutrients to get me to this goal I want in my life because I'm not making my fruit is my fruit because of the certain life I'm living,
Yeah.
the recipe. So for me
Yeah.
to hit that goal, there has to be unknowns.
Yeah.
I don't know how, and the unknowns is going to lead me there and zigzag me there. So it's habit. It's like when you get, hey, that was an unknown, write it down.
Yeah.
Right? Up, that's a win. Talk
Do
to
you think
Rory.
the unknowns are like, do you think the unknowns, I mean, you said something like this. I don't remember the exact words that you said, but like it sort of is like it's like the breadcrumb, it's like the manna, right? Like the unknowns are like the food that is just being placed every morning you wake up and it's there, right? Like you're going to encounter unknowns throughout the day. Like as a man, you have to be in this state of expansion and growth, right? And it's like it's the unknowns that are the little bits of food along the way that that basically tell you and energy like through the energy that you feel and through the things that you like how it feeds your spirit along the way, like it points you in the right direction.
Because when I'm scarcity and when I'm ungrateful and I'm playing not to lose, I will not see any unknown or risk around me, nor will I
Right.
take it.
Yeah, you
There's an
don't see the
unknown.
opportunities and you don't and you just avoiding the negatives,
Yeah,
right? It's like
I don't
protection.
know. I remember Roy, I remember I was adjusting and I was in a grateful state and I seen a pastor for probably 2 years. He was a patient. I just had the, hey, take a knee and ask him, hey, Pastor Bob, you like, if you ever need me to talk at your staff or anybody in the church, just let me know. I'll do a talk. Just listen to the voice. And he goes, what do you do in the next 3 Sundays? He's like, I'm going on sabbatical. You could speak the next 3 Sundays. I got 350 new patients in 1 month.
That's
But
great.
when I heard it, I sold it. He said yes, and I got scared because it was
Yeah.
new. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm ready. But I realized like if the opportunity arises, God must believe I'm ready. And if I'm not ready, I'm sure as heck going to learn a lesson. So I had to rise up. I never spoke to that many people. So all those nerves and anxiety, all that stuff, like, and I mean that was the first time we did 1,000 a week, and it just went up from there because it was like I got the download, I acted on it. There's the opportunity. I didn't feel prepared, but if the opportunity came, I must be ready, even though I didn't feel like it, and I just did it anyway. And
Yeah.
it turned great. So I have so many of those moments where it's like, there's the opportunity, I'm going to do it, and that's courage, right? I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And there was pivotal moments in my entire life that it's like it scares me, Rory. If I was hungover, if I was on, like, just think like if I wasn't in a receptive place to just have the confidence to ask, my whole career would have changed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have those moments too, where it's like, I went for it, or just something serendipity had. Like, so I believe there's, like I used to say on the Hero Project, like the only guaranteed thing we have in life, the only known thing, the guaranteed known is the unknown. Like we will definitely have unknowns, and the unknown, it houses all the essential nutrients for whatever dream we have.
Yeah.
And Steve
Yeah, that
Jobs
makes
says
me
you
think.
will only know looking backwards how that played out.
Yeah, that makes me think of something that I've thought about a lot, which is like, okay, we tend to, we have this very structured Western life. Like, we're going to school and like you get your job or you start your business, and it's just like, it's so structured, right? And I'm in my 40s, and, I look back at where I've been so far, and it's just like, I don't like all the structured parts, and kind of the organization is not what you remember, right? And so what really your life truly consists of is like moments,
Hmm.
right? It's like a series of defining moments that
Hmm.
set you in a direction, right? And so like that's really what's going to make, if somebody writes a book on your life, they're not going to just
Yeah.
write this like list of like structured, like
Hmm.
went to school and got an A in this class. Like it's it's going to be the big pivotal defining emotional experiences,
Dude,
right?
you nailed it.
So if you're
Jim,
not,
yeah.
yeah, if you're not stepping into unknowns, like ask yourself, like how many of those moments have I had recently where I was terrified to take a leap of faith? How many moments have I had where like I tried something new? How many moments
Hmm.
recently have I had where I like uh, spent, like invested a bunch of money to like, and it was risky, but like I was okay. Like it's like I'm gonna try this, right? Or whatever it is. Like that's really what makes up, or whatever. Maybe it's like I quit my job and started my own thing, or I quit my practice and went into a completely new direction. Like Dr. D, who I spoke to recently, like 450K a year as an ER physician. I can't do this anymore. Quit it, started his wellness business, right? And struggled a lot for that, right? But now he's helping so many people, get free of depression, and a very financially successful business, where it's like, but yeah, it's like that's what it is, man. Your life is those moments. So don't think that playing it safe and keeping everything perfectly structured is where the magic sauce is, because it's not.
That reminds me that Jim Rohn, he had a quote and it changed my life because remember we talked about just extremes. I had such a structured life and routine that sometimes you could say the routine was so certain. Dude, just you could be like, it's 3. I know Chris, I know he's having 7 ounces of chicken and 10.5 ounces of like it was so structured. But all
Yeah.
that structure was so much certainty, and that's where a lot of my boredom and numbness came from. And then but the structure allowed me, it was at least preparing my vessel for the unknowns. And then Jim Rohn, it was around COVID. I listened to a thing and he goes, you said it perfectly, Roy. He goes, life isn't just the passing of time. He goes, it is a series of experiences with intensity and frequency. I love it.
Mm.
He's like, life should be a series of experiences with intensity and frequency, like experience. Like those are the things. And that led me to, I mean, what you said was so dead on. It led me to be like, I remember I had this thing cross my email, like you could get red carpet tickets to see John Wick 3, and my son Justice loved it in New York. And so it was $10,000. I was like, oh my God. But it was exciting. So I did it. We went to New York. He met with Halle Berry. It was amazing. What an experience. We still talk about it today. And I was like, wow. And then I just started traveling places even by myself because it's like, I'm going to this experience. And it's amazing the things that come out of it. And a lot of cool stuff and a lot of good relationships came out of it. So you're right, man. Like life is a series, should be experience, not just time passing, but a series of experiences with frequency and intensity.
Yeah.
Like really go for it. And you hit it on the head. And that is like one of my most, if you said, what's one of your most favorite quotes? that's been the most life changing because I was such a structured person. Like
Hmm.
day to day, Monday through Sunday, I found safety in the security of the structure.
Yeah.
And that prevented me from looking out and
Yeah,
experiencing life, you know?
for sure. And there's nothing like structure is good, discipline is good, right? And I know you're not saying this, but like just for any of the listeners, like structure is good, discipline is good, having routine is good. But like, you can experience what we're talking about now, like in your business, right? Like taking a risk in your business and like really putting, like, I'm going to start having conversations differently, right? Maybe I've been following the exact same script for the last 10 years and it's like, it's not really working that well anymore, but you're comfortable with it, right? Like, what if you dove in and just like reinvented the full script and hired a coach to help you write a better script and whatever it is, right? Or, it's like, oh man, marketing used to be so easy. I used to get all these patients and now it's just been so dry for the last couple of years. Well, and you don't want to be on camera, but it's like, well, what if you took that risk and just you dealt with that fear and you just decided like I'm going to be the health expert in my area, right? And I'm just going to be the guy who people see all the time. And these are just little very practical examples of like break out of the routine. If you're not encountering unknowns, like you're not really living a full life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so here's my takeaways, right? So, I
Yep.
mean, I think some of the things we took away from this, right? Number one is maybe it starts with not being entitled. You don't deserve just by matter of waking up in the morning anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, so don't put because when you deserve when you think you deserve it, you put that on to everyone else, and all of a sudden it becomes everyone else. It becomes your patient's obligation to like make you happy, right? Because I deserve this, right? And it becomes all of your employees' obligation to make you happy because you deserve perfect employees, and right. And it's like you put that entitlement, you make it everyone else's burden. I think when you do that, right? So don't be entitled. Next one is have habits around literally experiencing gratitude, right? Five daily things that you're grateful for. Um, you know, End of the day, what's something that happened today, unexpected or that I thought was negative at the time, and maybe it triggered me or I reacted negatively to it. What's one? How can I learn from this and grow from this and make this a positive experience and be grateful for it? Write that out, right? And then the other stuff I think that we took away from this is basically are you stepping out, right? So recognizing that the true gift is knowing that the journey itself and finding joy in the journey is really kind of like that's the goal. The goal shouldn't be to retire. That you can have a goal to retire, but the primary goal is to love every day, right? Like love the work that you're doing, love spending your energy in a worthy cause every day, love self actualizing, love self maximizing, love the fact that you're going for it every day, and become, focus on becoming the person you're meant to become. And the only way to do that is to be willing to step into unknowns and live a life that's filled with exceptional, intense moments. Do you think I summed it up well? Is there anything you'd add to that?
No, that was great, man. No, you nailed it because it's awareness, conscious, and it's building proper habits and systems. Like the habits are systems to ensure victory because willpower alone is not going to do that. It's like when you're complaining and there's zero willpower there. That's why you're complaining. So it's like, how can I build systems that safeguard and start building that habit of like, it's sort of like when I started doing this a couple months ago, it's like I would stare at the page for quite some time. Like, there's no unknowns today, but there were always, and then you start seeing like, wow, like, and the way I look at it is like God is living and active. Like I'm being spoken to through all places, people, things, and circumstances. Like constant, when you understand there's constant communication with you.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to look, you got to start looking for it. And the habit gets you to kind of like tune into the voice or the, or what to look for. So yeah, I think you hit it on the head. And so it's a practical thing to do. And you just got to, start shifting your focus. The
Yeah.
person the man or woman who has focus and attention gets a lot of things done. It's like the sun, right? The sun warms you, but if I put a magnifying glass on that thing, right, it will burn. So the substrates are there. A lot of times you lose focus and attention, to really kind of get moving in our life.
Right on. Well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Guys, if you would like a world-class marketing system, you want Dr. Zaino to, literally build hundreds of ads for your business, clinicsuperpower.com. That's a program where Dr. Zaino makes advertising videos for you, educational videos for your business, right? Hundreds of ads. Our professional talent makes ads, book the appointments for you, do all the qualification, the education, all of that is literally done for you. And so you don't have to lift a finger until someone shows up at your office. So that would be clinicsuperpower.com. And then where can they find you on social media, Dr. Zaino?
I think Instagram's best at Dr. Zaino.
All right.
Yeah.
Check out his YouTube too. It's probably more in depth there. But yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Let's wrap this one up, and we will see you on the next episode. See you guys.
You've been listening to the Super Clinic Project podcast. If you like what you hear, subscribe and stay tuned for further episodes of the Super Clinic Project podcast.